The TrekWorks YouTube channel is sponsored by HDA ModelWorks, suppliers of scale lighting products, detail accessory parts, and complete model kits. Visit HDAModelWorks.com today.
Hi there everybody, Boyd here with you. Well, this evening I'm working on the 1/1000th scale Discovery Enterprise. I finally got around to getting these Aztec decals applied. I couldn't have picked a colder night to do it, you guys. Down here in San Antonio we're having some Arctic weather, and you'll have to put up with the background noise of my superheater 3000s in the background. They're really loud, but they work really good. So I'm just going to start applying the Aztec decals like I mentioned. I believe I've got the set here that's the corrected instructions, so I wouldn't have any problem with the numbers being off. I can always compare and look at the sizes and everything on these two and the shapes to make sure they line up with what's in the picture and what's on the ship. So we've got, I haven't even pulled these out of the package yet to look at them, but it looks like we got a couple of sheets here. Yeah, this one being the basic picture of what they look like. So not to worry, they're not blue when you pull them off. They're not, you know, this is just the backing paper, a tint that's on there. So let's see, we're going to line this up first with number 1 and work our way around the saucer. It looks like we're going clockwise. So I'm looking for the number 1 sheet here. Got number 4 there. Okay, we have number 1 right here, and it basically goes on in this quadrant right here. Now a lot of people are saying that you might want to cut these down to smaller size to start with. I'm going to give this a shot on the first one at the regular size. I'm used to working with big decals like this. I've done, you know, 350 scale refits, and I've done the Excelsior and several other ones that had big pieces like this, and I think I should be able to get away with it. But we'll see how that goes. We'll try it on this first one here. Now these are die cut decals from the factory, so we don't have to worry about the edges being cut precise. They'll come out, you can maybe see it in the shadow here. They're cut right on the edges already from the factory. If you buy aftermarket decals, for those of you who are kind of new to the modeling hobby, you're going to find that in a lot of cases they're not die cut like that, and you're going to have to cut these out. And when you've got to put something like this down where they've all got to butt up against each other and fit perfectly, you're going to have to trim them really, really good and really perfect. So thankfully we don't have to worry about that with this application. So I'm going to do my usual thing here, guys. My method for doing decals, I usually just squirt a little bit of water on the surface here, and then I just soak the decals down like this with my pump spray bottle. I don't use the typical, you know, bowl or whatever that you soak them in. And I'm just using regular water, which right now has been sitting out in my shop. The water's probably about, feels like it's about 50 degrees. It's about 22 degrees outside right now, which is, believe me, for San Antonio is really cold. And we're supposed to get down to close to 0 later this week. A lot of people around here are worried about breaking pipes and stuff like that. The houses down here are not insulated very well against that kind of thing. This will definitely be, I've lived here since 1994. And that will be definitely the coldest it's ever been since I've lived here. And I moved from Wisconsin, and I don't miss the cold weather at all. But a few days later, it's supposed to be back up in the 70s, so we'll just have to put up with it. But we'll keep nice and cozy here tonight and work on these decals. We'll kind of get an idea on this first one here, how long it takes for them to break free. They're new decals, so it should be pretty quick. Just kind of looking ahead here, it looks like it's basically the same pattern going around. Here's what I'm working with, by the way, guys, if you can't see it. The application guide that comes on the packaging. Just following the numbers. I'm going to start on the top saucer here. I imagine the most difficult stuff will be putting on the decals that go on the nacelles. Those are always, you know, they've got to fit more complex shapes and everything, so we'll just see how it goes. Most of the people that have done these that I've watched the videos on haven't had any problem at all. So even people who, you know, have done decals for the very first time are not having any problem, so we should be good here. Let's see. Starting to break free around the corners a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and cut out the second one here and get that one pre-soaked so we don't have to wait. This will be number 2. But yeah, as far as the overall model here goes, I'm really pleased with the kit. I had a great time building it, and it all went together really nice. You know, we did a little bit of aftermarket, you know, I did my own lighting in this. I kind of rigged up my own. I got some motors from Ralph, and Ralph actually now has, at Tenna Controls, has a, you know, an engine kit for this, which is just an LED type. You don't have any motors, and it gives a really nice rotating effect. But I wanted to go with the real motors and have the Bassards actually spinning, and I did a lot of fiddling around to get the speed where I wanted it, and, you know, everything set up just right. You can go back and watch the original videos on this when I built it, and I'll get into all that detail. I did a few mods to the thing. You know, I opened up these window ports here on the top saucer. I use this product here. A lot of people keep asking about this. This is a product called Solar Res. It's a liquid resin that cures with a UV, ultraviolet light. So it cures in about 15-20 seconds. It's great for making windows, shapes, domes. This is their doming resin. I'll put the name of it on the screen here, and you get this at www.solarres.com. I've got an extra bottle that I bought here for a refill. Now, this stuff is not cheap at all. I think this bottle right here, this big bottle, was around 40 bucks or maybe 45, something like that. So I only use it for certain applications. I don't use it as a glue or anything like that. It's not meant to be a glue. It's, you know, it'll hold things together, but it doesn't actually bond plastic together or anything like that. So one of the things I also use it for is when I do my clear window glass, like in model cars and stuff, where, you know, usually you've got to put your glass in there and hold it together or prop it together with something, tape or clamps or whatever. So especially windshields that want to pop in and out of a car, you know, they kind of fit in there with a little bit of a pressure. You can put a couple drops of this around the corners and tack it in place, you know, even with a little bit of pressure on it. And then that way it's set, you know, it's not going to go anywhere. Then what I do is I go back and I tap a couple of drops of either canopy glue or regular model glue, depending on, you know, I'll use model glue if there's a little bit of a space, you know, overlap with the glass where the glass is not real close to the edge of the, you know, the opening, where you'd be able to see if a little bit of glue accidentally seeped in there. And if it's really close, I'll just go ahead and use canopy glue, because if a little bit seeps out, I can wipe that off and it won't leave a stain on the glass. But so this works as a really good tool for that. You know, you can kind of tack it in place and not have to wait at all. I mean, literally hit it with the flashlight. It's cured up almost instantly. And then you can just glue it down, and then the regular glue holds it from then on out. And it works really good for that. But there's all kinds of uses. If you watch my videos, you see I'm using this stuff on all kinds of things. But I don't use it on anything where just standard glue will work, right? Because it's just too expensive. And it could be because of the low temperatures out here. These decals are definitely not sliding here right away. Usually they would have broken free by now. And I just broke the corner of one of them right there, just trying to slide it. But that's okay, it didn't tear bad or anything. We'll definitely be able to hide it. And it's making me wonder if I should consider applying a coat of decal bonder over the top of these before I go ahead and use the rest of them. I think I'm going to do that, guys. I'll take a quick break on the camera. These will have a few seconds to break free. And then the rest of these decals off to the side, I'm going to put a couple coats of that stuff on there so we don't have to worry about these tearing. Be right back with that. We are back, everybody, and I just went off to the side there and put a couple coats of the decal bonder on the rest of the decals. In case you guys were wondering, the product, it's this stuff right here, Tester's decal bonder in an aerosol can. They even sell this stuff at regular Hobby Lobby, so it's really easy to find and it works really good. You don't have to put a super thick or heavy coat of this on there. Just dust them down, and it'll make a big difference on helping hold decals together. Now, in that time, which has been a couple of minutes, I've been letting these set up a little bit, and they're starting to slide pretty easy now. So I'm going to freshen up my water on the top of the saucer here. You don't want to have a flood of water on whenever you're doing decals, but you really can never have enough water either. It makes, you know, working with them just so much easier. Okay, and I'm going to try to keep it down nice and flat. And it looks like it lines up on this little, you'll see the kind of panel lines, everything lines up with the shape of this. And as they say, you want to keep the film flat as you pull it out from underneath of the decal, so you avoid getting any kind of you know, air bubbles and things like that. Well, right off the bat, I gotta say I'm really pleased with the look. You know, when I painted this, again, referring back to what I was talking about, when I built it, I used a craft acrylic paint on this, which is this color right here. It's called Folk Art Pewter. The number is 99232. Sprayed it on there, and it's got a seal coat on there with my Duplicolor matte clear wheel finish that I use. Same thing you guys saw me use if you followed the TOS 1350 build here recently, as a sealer. And I really like the color because it looks almost identical to the color of the molded plastic. And I thought, you know, thinking about this, when it came out, the color should be suitable for this, because they would engineer these decals to kind of match with that color and show up really good. So we're going to go with that. So it looks like I got one spot right here where the paint kind of reactivated, though. That's what I was talking about with the sealer on this. You're going to have, if you don't seal this craft paint, you're going to have problems with stains when you use water on top of it, especially like these metallic finishes. And so I'm kind of concerned about this right here. I'm actually going to, I don't want to have a problem here. I'm going to back right up, you guys. This is modeling 101 here too. You know, it's all about going back and saving yourself when you see something starting to happen. So the first thing I'm going to do is get this decal back on this backing paper. Okay. And I've got an issue here. I must have a dry spot. It's either with my paint or it's the and it's definitely the paint. Okay. So it's not sealed good enough right here, you guys. That's what the problem is. The clear is not sealing on top of this, and so the water reactivated that metallic finish, and if I don't do anything with that, that's going to leave a really bad stain. What's going to have to happen right here is I'm going to have to dry this off, and I'm going to have to take my airbrush and I'm going to have to lightly spray another coat of paint back on this, and then I'm going to have to hit the whole thing with my clear to make sure it's totally sealed. And I'm going to probably go over the entire model that way to make sure. I may have done a touch-up or something there. This has been sitting for, probably a few months since I built it, so I may have forgot that I was supposed to come back and reseal it or something. That's the problem when you wait, you know, a long time. I usually don't wait a long time in between when I'm working on something. I'll take and finish it up, you know, all the way through. But over the past couple of years with the client work getting really heavy in here, I've had a lot of models that turn into shelf queens. I never used to do that before. But the surface is still smooth. It didn't cause any big issues. It's just these basic stains, and a lot of them might go away once the paint totally dries. But I don't want to take the chance that that stain's going to stay there and be caught underneath of that decal like that, and it'll look horrible. So I didn't want to do all this nice work on this model to have something like that going on. So it's an easy fix. As I said, we'll put some of that paint in the airbrush right here. I'll just dust over it. I'll show you what that looks like. I'm going to go ahead and dry it, but let me pause the camera real quick while I get everything set up, and we'll show you how we fix all this. Be right back. Okay, guys, well, I'm back here. I've got everything set up and ready to go. I took and made up a little bit of my pewter paint here, got it loaded in my airbrush, and I've taken my heat gun and got it ready here. I've actually kind of warmed up the entire surface here a little bit because it is really cold out here in the shop, guys, and paint does not like cold. But it's exactly what I thought. The staining mostly went away when I dried it, but it still left a couple little, you know, weird, almost look like hard water stains. So we're just going to dust over that with our pewter color here. And luckily it didn't get on top of any of the lighted areas, or, you know, I can stay away from that and not have to worry about it. I can kind of feather edge around it. Then we're just going to dry it real quick here. Yeah, it is not happy out here tonight in this cold weather, you guys. You can see it's already pretty much straightened back out there. Just a little bit more dusted on here. Not a very big area. We caught it pretty quick. Yeah, that could have turned out bad, especially if I would have had several patches of it laid down and then it started reacting after that. I'm glad it kind of did it right away. Yeah, it may be where I did a little touching up or something on it for some reason. I can't remember that far back. Too many models and too much model glue, you guys. I see a little speck right up in there too. I'm going to have to touch up right up by the bridge here. I'm going to have to be careful not to get any overspray. There we go. All right. Again, with this heat gun here, we can dry this paint almost instantly. Still see a slight little shadow right here. And that leveled out really good. Beauty of this water-based paint, I'm liking it more and more, you guys, because it's much more forgiving. If you make mistakes, you can wipe it off, start over. You know, it doesn't melt the plastic. For years been used to working with solvent-based paints and all that. So I'm really starting to love this stuff. Everything cleans up so much better. It's not toxic. I don't have to wear a gas mask when I'm out here spraying this stuff. I'm really liking it. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to do a quick touch-up job here on the top of the saucer with my clear. Then we're going to have to let it dry a little bit, but I'll go ahead and show you what I'm using. And I'm just about out of this stuff again. This is the Matte Wheel Duplicolor. It's really good stuff. It works great for these kind of models. It gives a really nice satin finish on it. And it works great for decals. You guys saw how nice it worked with the TOS 1350, how nice those decals laid down. So it'll be ideal for these Aztec decals. Well, let me just blend it in here. Hopefully I've got enough left in the can. I just basically want to tonight get the top of the saucer done, at least, so I can show you guys that much, and then I'll have to go get some more of this stuff tomorrow morning, finish it up, because I'm going to go ahead and seal up the entire model again, just to be sure. Yeah, I'm barely going to make it here. Definitely want to make sure I get enough. I've got one more, and then I might be able to get a couple of squirts out of. There we go, a little bit better. I want to mainly concentrate on that area where we had the problem. Just one nice even light coat. This stuff dries really fast in normal conditions. Right now, like I said, it's really cold out here. I'm going to go off camera and give it a little bit of help with my heat gun. And when I come back, we should be able to resume laying down the decals. Be right back, everybody. Okay, about 15 or 20 minutes later, everybody, and I think we're ready to get back on track here. This is, like I said, this stuff dries pretty quick. I gave it a little bit of help with my heat gun, and it's all, you can see it's not as glossy as it was now. So I think we're ready to resume here. Let's start out again and see what happens. We'll get this one back down in place. I'm glad I was able to grab it right away and get it back on the backing paper. We did such a great job the first time. Let's see if we can do it the second time. Okay. I'm going to shoot plenty of water on here. Okay, it's starting to move around real nice for us. Got one spot in the middle kind of holding on there. There we go. Looks like everything lines up really good. That's really nice. All right, I'm happy with that one so far. We're going to start real gently getting rid of the excess water. Yeah, the film actually feels fairly thick, so it might have been overkill on my part to put the the decal bonder on there, but and it was mostly my own fault because I was trying to get them off of the backing paper too soon. You just got to take your time with decals. If they don't want to come off, just wait. Always in a hurry trying to do videos so it doesn't take too long for you guys to see results. Got one little chip right there, which is okay. I've got some charcoal gray. I can just touch that up. We'll make that go away. Again, I think that was a byproduct of me taking these off and then putting them back on. Now I'm doing the little squeegee effect that you heard me talk about when I was doing all the decal work on the TOS Enterprise. Just to get the large air bubbles and little water pockets out. I can already tell these are going to work out great. They're sucking right down onto the surface like no problem. Okay, very nice. And we're right on the marks, so we'll oh, we got a big chunk that came off right there too. Well, we'll have to do something about that. I don't know if it's, oh, here it is stuck on the paper towel. Might be able to save it yet, you guys. Maybe they are brittle. I believe it goes and here's the little, I was going to say there's the tip of it's missing, but there it is right there. Stuck to my paper towel. Let's see if we can patch this up reasonable here. All right, that looks pretty darn good to me. I can't even see it anymore. All right, we'll let that just have to gonna be a lot more careful here. They are definitely sending me a message. Okay, we'll move on to the next panel here. Yeah, they're sliding. They're sliding off there really nice now. It just took a little time. Again, it's a lot to do with the weather out here too. It's very, very chilly. It's 67 degrees here in the shop, which is not too bad considering what it is outside. Get it right on in there. And this decal moved a little bit. I can tell it overlapped a little bit. It got a dark shadow on it. Okay. Try to keep that down there where it should be. Okay, and it looks like we're right on the panel lines here. Got that lined up. The decals are obviously precisely cut. That's good. They slightly just curve over the edge, so I'm going to watch those real close and see how they start looking. If they kind of naturally go down there and hang on by themselves. If not, I'll just take a little bit of our Solvaset here, and I'll just lightly brush over that edge, and that'll suck them right down on there. Again, I've talked about that stuff, either Microsol, Microset. I happen to use the Walther's Solvaset. It's a last-ditch thing for me. I never use it unless I have to. This one little tip piece that we found here is wanting to move on us again. Okay, let me get the rest of these little micro air bubbles squeegeed out. Most of the wrinkles. Yeah, you can just tell when you see these decals and they get those kind of like really fine, you know, microscopic looking wrinkles. You know those are the ones that will settle down. The big wave looking wrinkles are the ones you're going to have to address if it's not laying down. But I'm not seeing any of that on this. This is all looking real good. Maybe a little bit right in here. Yeah, I got to be really careful with that. Knocked it loose again. Pretty soon we'll be away from this area and we won't be messing with it. Got this stuck back on my paper again. It's trying to get lost, but so far we haven't lost it. A little water on the Q-tip here. I can't tell if maybe this is I don't think so. The decal could be upside down. It looks like the shape is lining up pretty good. It's a perfect little triangle almost. That looks pretty close. Didn't think I'd be fiddling with that. Okay, that's where it's going to stay. All right, one more little dab here. Make sure. Just stay away from that one particular spot if I can. Just looking in the light here to see if I can see anything wrinkle-wise, any big stuff. The micro stuff, like I said, don't worry about it. Don't keep pecking at that if you don't have to, because you'll just make it worse. That's looking good, you guys. So let's move to the next. Got to grab the sheet over here, the one we're working with. These are plenty dry. I sprayed these with the decal bonder earlier. Let's see. We're looking for number 3, which goes in this area right in here. We have that one right there. Okay, looks like I got a phaser bank in the center of it. Get that cut out. Even though these are die cut, I try to cut them, you know, reasonably close, but then leave a little bit of spot where I can hold it with my finger and I'm not actually on the decal itself. I'm going to take them off. Okay, then let's see what's next here. Obviously number 4, but what shape is that? Ooh, it's a big one. It's the big whole front forward part here. All right, so that looks like that's the biggest one so far, but I think we'll chance it now that we've got the bonder on here as well. And again, the your choice of sealer, but you definitely want to seal your decals when you're done. I'll be using the same stuff again, the Duplicolor matte finish. I've had, you know, one of the other reasons why I really like it, not only do I like the finish of it, the way it looks, it's important if you find something, a particular product that seems to be really stable and doesn't, you know, attack or cause problems with chemical reactions or anything like that with your decals or your base paint, then stick with it, because that's been the killer of many a modeler out there, or a model project, I shouldn't say modeler, the project that people are working on that are new to modeling. And it even happens to experienced people, because once in a while you get a situation where you're putting something together and maybe you ran out of the particular product you're used to working with, and you were in a hurry and you tried something different, and all of a sudden you get this massive paint reaction, you know, bubbling, blistering paint, ruining your decals, ruining all your hard work on your detail and everything, and that really is frustrating. So just, you know, I know it's not possible in all situations, but whenever you can, just try to keep a certain system, and if it works for you, just stick with it. And hopefully, you know, the one thing that happens to all of us that we can't avoid is it seems like we get products that we start really liking working for this, and then they go ahead and stop making it and switch or change the formula or something, and then we have to start all over again. But right now, for about a year and a half or so, I've been using that Duplicolor, and it's been working fantastic. I haven't had a single problem with any kind of paint. I've used both this Craft, I've used the Nason, I've used Spieshecker, you know, high-end automotive finishes, and all the different hobby-type finishes, Humbrol, you know, Vallejo, all of them, and I've not had a problem at all. So let's see. We know we're going to have to wait a little bit for these. Let's go ahead and start getting some water on the top here. I'll do the small one first and then the big one, I guess. Let's give these a little bit more water. Maybe that'll help them along. It's possible some hot water could help these too, but I just didn't want to boil a big pan of water or get some hot water and bring it out here. It wouldn't stay hot very long anyway. Okay, so our goal, guys, for this particular, I guess we'll make this a two-parter, because I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for a better day here. Like I said, maybe by midweek next week we'll have some nice warm weather back here, and because this is such a, you know, nice model and everything, I don't want to do a, you know, I don't want to take too many chances and have some big problems with it. I put a lot of work into it, like I said, so we'll just kind of, you guys will get a taste of it anyway, of what this looked like, but we'll try to get the top of the saucer done here at least. I really like the look of it, though. I mean, that's fantastic. It's I think I was happy with my, like I said, my base color choice here, because the markings are showing up really nice. You're getting a nice definition between the there's actually 3 different kind of shades of coloring on here. Really dark, kind of a medium, and then a light, and they all have a lot of nice definition to them. So that's what we were hoping for. If you're going to do Aztecs, the way I've always said about Aztecs is, if you're going to take all the time to do them, then you definitely want to be able to see them. and not have them, to me it's, I know things look a certain way and there's a subtle look for Aztecs for some reason, but most of the time Aztecs were meant to be seen, so they should be a little bit kind of bold. I know I've talked about this a million times, but talking to Paul Olson, who did the Enterprise, the refit, in the movie the version that we see of it in the film, it was toned way down, and it was meant to look originally like really dazzling, like a rainbow changing effect, like you would really notice the colors a lot more. And but unfortunately, the film equipment they had to work with back then, it caused a lot of artifact issues when they were trying to add in the layers of background effects and everything, and so it all had to be toned down. But to have Paul and some other people that I've talked to that were on hand when the studio crew first took the fresh model out of the model shop and set it up on the stage and had the professionals light it for the first time, it just literally blew everybody away. They couldn't believe how gorgeous it was, and they were all looking forward to how spectacular it was going to look on film. It still does. I mean, you can definitely see a lot of the coloring and everything is still there on the film. Even in, I have the 4K version that I watch, and it looks awesome, but it was supposed to look even a lot more awesome than that. The whole idea of it was Paul was saying, is if you're going to do all that work, you really wanted it to pop. So it's kind of interesting what people's take would have been on the Enterprise refit had they seen how it was actually really intended to look with, really bold coloring on it like that. And it might have looked too rainbowy for some people, but interesting thing to think about. Let's try this center one here. And again, I don't want to push this again and rip these again. That was kind of the start to all my problems here. Alright, that one's starting to slide pretty decent. We'll go for this one. Pretty easy to line this one up. You've got the edges, and then you've also got the there's a rectangle shape right in the center that's obviously supposed to line up with this little phaser bank here that's located forward. Had one that turned under. A little bit of water flush on that will flatten him right out, I believe. Just had a turn corner there. There, I'd straighten that right out. We were pretty close with the decal already. A little bit sticky there in the center. I'm kind of concerned about that. I mean, it's stuck down on there solid. I heard that about these decals too. And it's stuck down on there like really good. I can see a spot right in the center, but like it almost like welded itself right on. Thankfully we got that off of there without it tearing. It was stuck pretty good, you guys. I'm mainly using the rectangle shape there, the phaser bank, to line it up. Looks good. Right now you guys may be seeing there's a few little wrinkles across here, but again, those are those kind of like micro wrinkles I was talking about, so I really don't want to be pecking at them too much. I know that they're going to straighten out. And this is all super high gloss right now too. When you, I'm sure that a lot of the wrinkles are going to go away, but once they do, then you know, seal this thing with our semi-gloss, and that's going to make all that go away too. This high gloss and this fluorescent light in my shop is going to make every little flaw show up. And they always look, these decals always look really rough when you're first putting them down. They look almost scary, like, oh, I hope that's not how it's going to look. You know, but they always come around. The trick is not to fuss with them too much, okay? So let's check our big guy here. Yeah, he's moving. Now I'm going to put a liberal amount of water on this time, you guys. A lot of water. That scared me how that grabbed a hold of there like that. Just, I'm glad we did the decal bonder now, because that would have torn for sure. What I'm going to do too is I'm going to flush these decals off. I can see like almost like a, I think they have a lot of glue on them. I can see the excess glue kind of floating around on the edges. They almost remind me of some of the really old decals that do that. Okay, let's try to get it flat. Okay. Wow, that one went down beautiful. I like that. Good thing it did too, because it's lined up in the perfect location, because this spot, there's a spot right there that did that same thing again. It just like literally welded itself right to the paint. Yeah, and I definitely had heard about that happening with these decals. So people that have put these together so far have reported about that. So they weren't wrong. So be very careful with these, you guys. And maybe a mixture of some Dawn dishwashing detergent mixed in with this water. In that case, you might want to use like a little dish with that in there. That might help to like lubricate them a little bit. And it'll work perfectly fine. It's a method we used to use for at the body shop for doing decals on the cars. Now that was back in the 80s, and later on they came up with actual chemical solutions that you could spray straight out of a bottle. I used to do a lot of the Trans Ams, back in the day, where they would wreck and they would have to have the hood repainted, so the whole decal had to be replaced, and we had to do that in the body shop. And it was a matter of placing it down on there and then having plenty of time to move it and squeegee it all out before it started to set. So we'd use that soap and water combination, and that worked pretty good. It wasn't perfect, but it worked pretty good. And then they later on came up with that spray solution that I'm sure they're still using to this day, because a lot of the late model cars have a lot of decals and stuff on them, and they have to do the same thing whenever they need to be repaired. Yeah, you can literally see right there. It's almost like where there's a... It just literally sucked right down on there, and... But we were lucky that we had the whole thing perfectly in place before that happened. All right, so we're looking for number 5 and 6, which are the two last big wedge pieces, which are these two right here. We'll get these cut out, and then I'm looking for, I don't think we're going to need that. Let's just go for it like this. We'll get these cut out and soaking. And then I think we're going to call it a wrap for this part here, you guys, because I think partly what's hurting me here is this cold weather. In fact, I turned the other heater off because I had to use my heat gun at the same time, and I'll blow a breaker if I don't do that. That thing is a power hog. So we can get it warming back up in here a little bit. But I think I'm just fighting myself here, you guys. I wanted to put out a video for you, but over the weekend here, but we don't want to struggle too much and have problems, like I said. So, but we'll get these two big ones laid down. You'll get a kind of an idea how it's starting to look, and then I can come back and report to you in the next video how everything goes. I think it's going to be fine though. They look like they're the area that I first worked on here, that first panel already starting to look really nice, so we'll be okay. It's just a little slower than normal because of the cold temperature. This is even some kind of, I don't want to use the word funky, but the paper, even the paper is kind of different on these decals. Interesting. Something new that they're trying for sure. I haven't seen anything quite like it before. Paper is kind of strange the way it cuts too. Okay. Get this one going on. Gotta admit, I'm being very wary of putting these down now, because I keep, in my head I have that thing about the way they tend to weld themselves on like that in a certain spot. If you're not, it's like if you don't nail these and get them in the right location fairly quickly, you could get yourself in trouble, because if that locks down, like I said, this one over here I was able to break loose. I was surprised it didn't rip that whole, center part of it right out there. I have a pretty good track record with decals. I've had just about like 0 failures, and I've worked with some really bad stuff. I think probably the worst decal application I ever had to mess with on a Star Trek build was the Vulcan shuttle, the repopped version that had the new box art. That decal set that came with that thing was wow. I mean, it literally like exploded like a jigsaw puzzle, and it was already intricate enough. If you're familiar with that kit, it has all these really intricate markings and shapes that have to go on, and man, I literally spent like 2 whole evenings putting together a microscopic jigsaw puzzle, and I pulled it off. People who look at it can't even tell. In fact, it got an award at a model show I took it to, and so it can be done, but you really have to be determined, and you'd prefer not to have that happen, trust me. So yeah, that's got me got a little concerned. Like I said, I'll finish up these 2 big sections, and I'm gonna do a little bit of testing here and think tanking before we come back with the next video, and I may be using some soap and water. That'll be the first thing that I'll try to be a little bit more worry-free about this, because we do have a big chunk that tears out of the center. That's gonna really, I'll have to buy another set of decals and sand off the spot, because I guarantee you won't get it off with anything. If it welds itself on there like that, the only way to get it off is sand it off. We don't want to have to do that. So we're going to give these a good bit. I'm just trying to keep you guys some conversation going for you guys while these are getting ready here. So yeah, right after this job, I guess I'll mention that I've started to unpack the Eagle kit. We've got the 22-inch Eagle kit from MPC we're going to be doing. I'm really pleased with the looks of that. I mean, the detail on that thing is phenomenal. I've had the kit for a while, and just finally now getting around to building it. It's great though, because I've got to watch a lot of other people's video builds and everything. Those are, like people like to watch my videos. I watch a lot of videos out there too. There's a lot of valuable information that you can find. It's nothing. Sometimes it's not even about the experience you're watching somebody when they work. It's about what they run into that you see is going to be the same problem on every kit. If you're going to build the same kit, you're going to have to deal with that issue. So those things that they run into, and they explain how they work around them, are really, to me, really helpful. So some of the things that we're encountering with this one are things that I found out about beforehand, and that's It's always a good thing. It's a great community with the YouTube videos and everything. Let's see. All right, we're gonna give this one a shot here, I think. It's just now starting to break free. Again, I should be waiting for this, you know, and shutting the camera off. Whenever I have to do that too when making these videos, you know, one of the things that you need to, you know, I'm not saying for myself and everything, I don't mind you guys, I love doing these videos, but, you know, always make sure and thank a lot of the people out there that take a lot of the time to do these, especially a lot of the channels that are out there that, you know, they're not making any money or doing anything. They're just making videos for the pure sake of helping other people out. And that's a really great thing to see. And, you know, doing these videos, especially nowadays, we're all going to high definition, everything. It's a lot of time. I mean, typically for me, to do like a, you know, 25 or 30-minute video, it'll take 5 or 6 hours of fiddling around, you know, editing, and then the rendering. You know, it takes, when you go to high definition, and I have a pretty decent computer, it takes a while for it to render and everything, and then adding in the cuts, you know, when you do the fades and everything. You could just leave it all choppy, but most people take the time to clean it all up and make it look presentable to the people and everything. And, you know, that's a lot of work. And I appreciate each and every person out there that, you know, takes the time to put together a video and do that. Because, you know, 85% of the people that are on YouTube are doing it just for the fun of it. They're not promoting or pushing anything. And so I really appreciate everybody out there like that. Just something to think about, though, when you're rendering all this. So I try not to have to cut if I don't have to, and all those kind of things, because it's just you know, you got to go back and find that spot in the video and fix it. And but let's just see how this one's going to line up. It looks like that little part there overhangs, and we're going to put more water here just before we go down. Hopefully it does not stick, you guys. I got our fingers crossed. Get a spot ready to go here. Just always looking for an edge to try to that tries to roll over or something on you. That's what I'm watching for. Okay, boy, do you know you got to do this quick. And we already got a spot right there towards the top that acted like it got stuck, and it did. Go. It's a miracle it broke free. Okay, what I'm seeing right here is we got an overlap, and one of them has to give. Because we've got this dark ring right here. That is not supposed to have a visible gap in it. They're just trying to decide which one of them wants to be on top and which one, because they're slightly, in order for me to get it where that gap is gone, one of them's got to be slightly over the top of the other one. There, that settled down pretty good. I'll make sure I'm right up to that line on this side too. We'll have a gap there. Yeah, they're not forgiving as far as giving you any space in between. They're made to precisely fit on this. Modern computer engineering. What I like is that, you know, we put this big one on right here, and what I'm watching for is there's this, you know, recessed area right here where those little floodlights are, and they're conforming to that little drop down, that step, that ledge right there really, really well. a new paper towel. Let's go back and get on any water that carried over onto our worked section already. I really got to say that the overall look is fantastic, you guys. I mean, couldn't be happier with the color combination. When this whole ship is done like this is going to look great. But they are finicky. I would have to say that the decal set for the Excelsior, which are the actual cartograph decals. You guys remember when I did that build? They went down much nicer than this, at least initially. I'm still hoping that these are gonna settle on their own, and I'm like I said, 90% sure that the temperature out here has got a lot to do with it. I normally don't even try this stuff in these kind of conditions. Okay, let's go ahead and get this last one. These horrible conditions. Okay. Everything's got to line up. Okay. At least these, this time the two that needed to overlap slightly, they did so right away. They didn't fight each other like this one over here did. Alright. Just making sure all those little lines are... It's got these interesting markings, like these black ones right here, that are reminiscent of the, I believe it's the second pilot version of the original Enterprise, which were later removed. But I always thought they looked kind of cool. This one here probably laid down the best out of the whole lot so far. Really went down perfect and didn't stick anywhere either. That's good. Yeah, you've got to wait just a little while before you can really kind of, you know, get it a little, I shouldn't even use the word aggressive, but where you can kind of squeegee a little bit with a little bit more pressure where they won't move all the time, you know, when you're doing that. Yeah, really nice. I mean, up in these little ledge areas right here, which I was thinking, okay, those are probably going to leave big air bubbles. Nope, they're sucking right down in there. Even in, I will say that even in regular temperature, you know, if it was normally out in my shop here, it's, you know, between 75 and 80 degrees in the summer. It's at 90, 100 degrees out here. It'll still, you know, it would still take these decals a good 6 or 7 hours before they would fully suck down on there and be ready for, you know, a seal coat or whatever. So we've only been doing this for like, you know, half an hour, 45 minutes, and they're already coming around, so I think we're going to be okay. All right, you guys, well, I think we're going to quit while we're ahead here. We were able to, you know, go back and solve a few issues there, which is always a good thing. Got one little spot right here that I must have bumped. But we were able to solve, go back and take care of issues. As I mentioned, I'm kind of actually glad that that finally happened with that paint, so I could show you what I was talking about on how important that is if you're going to use this craft acrylic paint and work with a lot of water slide decals. It definitely will stain. I know some people on there commented that they've not had it stain. Well, they must be doing something different, but and it doesn't have anything to do with me heat drying it or anything like that. It's this paint's been drying for months. This model's been finished for months and it still happened. It's because I didn't have enough sealer on the top, and the rest of it was fine. I just had one area right there where I may have done a little touch-up or something with my airbrush and didn't remember that I needed to seal it or something, but the rest of it was fine. But we'll move on from this, guys. We'll come back in a couple days. I apologize. I wanted to try to get this whole job wrapped up in one video for you guys, with a few cuts here and there. But we'll just wait. We'll back off. We'll come back a couple days later. It's supposed to be, like I said, by the middle of next week down here. It's supposed to be in the mid-70s again, so we'll be fine. We'll come back and finish this up at that point. And then I'm going to try to take a few little thoughts before then, too, about getting this issue dealt with the sticking problem every once in a while. I think we'll just use some soap and water, and that'll take care of that. And it won't hurt the decals at all. They'll come out exactly the same. All right, you guys, thanks for checking it out. Hope it's helping the people that haven't done it yet. And we'll see you with the next video, guys. Right after I said the finish of this one, we're going to be starting on the Eagle project and take you through the whole build series on that, kind of like we did with the 350 Enterprise, and have a little build guide for that, too. I'll be learning a lot along the way with that one as well, guys, so that'll be a lot of fun. Take care. We'll see you next time, everybody. Happy modeling.